Okay, so we're going to talk about that benefit of doubt rule and what happened during the Jeannine and the Zipper match. Let me go ahead and just pull this up. And I'm just going to go ahead and play this so that everyone we have it fresh in our minds what we're talking about.
Number 5 in the category of animated. Kelly Marie Tran and Daniel Day Kim lent their voices to what Disney film set in the mystical land of Kumandra?
I got an animated question for you because I know you keep up with this stuff. That Marvel What If, any good?
It's the one that I haven't seen yet, and everyone is telling me I got to.
4.
Sorry,
I rely on you for this. 3.
I know.
2.
Get on it, Coach.
1. Pens down, and we go to Jeannine. Did you have it?
Raya the Last Dragon.
Raya the Last Dragon is correct. How about Z-Man?
I believe it's Raya and the Last Dragon.
We will accept either
Okay.
answer, and it is correct for both accounts. And so it is 1, 2, 1 point apiece for that one. And so we move on to the next category, which is we see a wait in the private chat. Let's bring in Winston Marshall just to be safe.
I'm just double checking. I mean, it's not like a random article. It's not Raya the Last Dragon as in Raya's the last. It's Raya and the Last Dragon. Raya with the final dragon. Those are two completely different meanings.
Okay, do you want to officially issue a challenge? You want to talk it over with your competitor real quick?
I mean, Zip, isn't it Raya and the Last Dragon?
It is, and it does change the meaning. I'm down with either, but if you say
I would say we go for it because this puts on the line potentially a perfect round. So yeah, I would like to challenge.
Then Roxy, I'm going to give you and Jeannine a little bit of time to counter with an argument before Steph and I make the ruling.
There's no Raya the Last Dragon movie, so there's nothing to confuse it with. So for benefit of the doubt, which includes ands, does, buts, ifs, which we've seen all season long, then we side with the person who is getting the benefit of the doubt, which would here be Jeannine, which she couldn't be confusing this with another movie because there is no Raya the Last Dragon.
Okay, fair arguments both ways. We will be right back with our challenge ruling.
You start on a journey and you never know where it's going to end.
Of course.
This is a story that
you know it. And then here was the decision.
We are back, and we have the combination as well as the challenge ruling, and it was an interesting conversation between all of the judges, but we did arrive at a consensus that while Raya and the Last Dragon and Raya the Last Dragon might not technically be the same movie, and it does make a big difference with that, and it also is Raya the Last Dragon, we can presume that it was the knowledge displayed more than enough to award Jeannine the Machine the point on getting the correct answer. And so
so I made a video. Now I'm going to play the video. This was my initial reaction. This was literally within 30 seconds. I hit pause, got my phone immediately. So I'm going to play my initial reaction to this. And then on the flip side, I'm going to talk about it where I stand a couple days after my initial reaction. Okay, yeah, ASG was right, dude. I am motherfucking pissed. Dude, we're breaking this shit down on this Saturday, speaking of Schmoedown. But all I'm going to say right now, and where it should have ended right away, is that Roxy herself said, but she started her argument by saying there is no movie Raya the. She said there is no movie for that. So how the fuck you get a point? You get a point for a movie that doesn't fucking exist. Benefit of the doubt, my ass, dude. Participation. I love this sport. I love the people in it. But as soon as I see Christian's not there and Ellis is, I know there's going to be a fucking benefit of the doubt participation point display. I'm sorry, but it is fucking bullshit. The answer is either right or it's wrong. Okay? It's not almost a fucking touchdown. It's not almost a home run. You get points for actually doing it. This is like getting a touch. I'm not even going to get into this shit, man. The fucking manager, Roxy herself, it's not a movie. How do you get points for a movie that doesn't fucking exist and they admit it? Bullshit, man. I love this sport. Well, I don't even think it's a sport, man. Honest, man. It's fucking isn't a sport. Damn it, dude. This is bullshit. This is not leaving off at the beginning. It changes the entire fucking. It's bullshit.
Okay.
That was me. Literally, I paused, and I did that message or that video. That was my initial reaction. Okay, now I want to say a couple things about that. I stand by everything that I said. There's nothing that I said that, I mean, yes, I was angry and I was ranting. So fucking what? It's about content and context, and what I said, I stand by what I said. Some people have said I shouldn't call out Ellis. And let me clarify this, okay? Because one of the things that I had heard was that, you know, it's a group decision and it's not just Ellis that makes the decision. So let me clarify, okay? In this specific, we're taking this on a case-by-case basis. This is the one we're talking about. Ellis used the benefit of doubt rule to accept the wrong answer. That was Ellis. That was no one else. That's why I call out Ellis, because he does that quite a bit. He will accept wrong answers under the name of the benefit of doubt rule. And if someone else doesn't, his co-partner doesn't, Guy being an example, and it's challenged, then it will be overruled. Okay, but that's the way it is. I'm not picking on anyone. Okay, and it just, my biggest thing before I hand it over to these guys, my biggest thing has always been that, you know, they're playing for money. Is that not serious enough for you? Is that not reason enough to take it seriously? They say it's a sport. The guy who created it, Christian, says it's a sport, and it's definitely competition. So money is at stake. Is that not serious enough? Okay, but more important than that, I've got a clip here from the post-match with of Kate talking in the post-match interview with Harper last night. Let's just take a listen to this. I'll have a final word after this, and then I'll hand it over.
And you talk about sacrifice. It's not just Dragon Con. It's look at who he's sacrificing time with. He's on another vacation right now doing this instead of being with the family. Wherever Marissa is, his wife is a saint. Marissa!
And that goes to my other point that I've been trying to make, but I've never had anything to back it up or to explain or to give as a reference what I mean when I say this, but I do now. Kate said it. Dude's on vacation. He's on vacation with his family, and even when he's not, he's got a job, and when he's not doing those things, he is taking time away from his family in his spare time to do this stuff and to study for this and to prep for this and to dedicate to this. That's time away from his family. You heard his child there and they're with him. Now, and I'm not saying, dude, I've never talked to Thomas about this. I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying Thomas feels this way. I want to make that clear. But I'm saying that is a good point or a reference as to what I'm saying. You know, they spend a lot of time away from their families and things that they could be doing other than this. And if that's not serious enough for you either, then I don't know what to say. But that's my final word on it. That's all I have to say about it. And until later on in the season when another benefit of the doubt rule happens. But I'm gonna jump off here, and Frenchie's gonna head up a discussion.
All right. So again, thanks for giving me. Well, we're not gonna wait for Teresa, but once her internet's back up, we'll put her back on. I want to start with, I get what he means. It's very inconsistent, right? Sometimes, you know, they lean one way, they lean the other way. I truly think that how it should be, if there's a movie that exists, if you have that word or close enough or whatever, like and the movie, like The Room and Room, like one of our watchers said, you know, yes, then okay. you don't count any points. But if the movie there's no precedent for it, right? And it just a slip up, I think that still should count. But that's just me, because I know I would do those errors too. But I would know the movie. It just again. Sometimes in a moment it just comes out wrong, but the movie. I think you still should get the point. What about you guys? Let's start with Double D.
Yeah, I totally agree with Jay. I mean, because we had Kate on here several weeks ago, and I asked her about her challenge to Paige LeBay when she left out the word "you" with "you don't mess with the Zohan," and so now we have, and she said that it's not about the right answer. It's about getting close to the right answer. It's about the meaning of the title. So when you say "don't mess with the Zohan," it changed the meaning from "you don't mess with the Zohan." It's like more of a suggestion to a command, and that's what Winston was saying with Raya and the Last Dragon. It changes the whole meaning. So now we have two managers who are saying that it's about the meaning of the title. So I think that should be the standard. Is you have to say the exact title to get the point, and if you don't get the exact title, then you aren't awarded the point. And I think that there should be like a contingency, like what qualifies as don't benefit of the doubt rule and not apply to the benefit of the doubt rule.
What about you, Teresa? Since you're on and off right now because your internet, let's might as well go to you right now. Oh, good.
Okay,
it happens.
I'm not as passionate about this as Jay is. I don't think we need to scratch the rule completely. I think we need to revise it, and I think we need some consistency, which we don't have this season, and that's not good. But I still think we should keep it. Just revise it and make it better and more fair. That's me.
What about you, Shug?
So for me with this situation is the bottom line is, and I'm probably going to ruffle a lot of feathers when I say this. It does not matter if there's benefit of the doubt. Does not matter if you knew the movie you were talking about. The point of the competition is you're supposed to write it down, know it, and write it correctly on the board. I don't care if Jeannine watched the movie, did a review on it. Obviously, we saw when Jeff Snyder knew a movie and did a review on it, and he doesn't remember it. If you can't do that, then you don't get the point. To me, there shouldn't be a benefit of the doubt rule. I think the rule is stupid. It needs to be taken out of the Schmoedown. It doesn't make sense. If you don't write the movie on the board, then you don't get the point. That's why in this later rounds, you don't have to write the name of the movie on the board. You just have to say it. It makes it a little easier. But that round one, the point is it's an exercise to write the name of the movie on the board to show that you know it. You know how to spell it, and you know what the movie, what they're asking in the question. So I don't care if Jeannine, if Thomas Harper, Andrew DeMolanta, Saul, I don't care who. If you don't write it down correctly on the board, you don't get the point. I don't care if you did a review on the damn movie. That's just the bottom line. So to me, that's just how it should be. I'm sorry if anybody else disagrees. I'm sorry that benefit of doubt. No, there shouldn't be a benefit of the doubt because it doesn't. What is the benefit of the doubt? I could sit here and be like, I wrote this down and it's close, but I don't really know the title of the movie. And then you say the title. I say, yeah, well, that's what I meant. No, get rid of the damn rule. I don't like it.
Megan.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say on this, so I'm glad we're not on any time constraints. But yeah, I'm with you on Shug. This rule needs to go. It's got to go. You have to have some sort of consistency between all divisions, not just singles. I know that there's this argument of IG and Star Wars has to be super specific. Yes, so that should also apply to singles and teams, right? You don't have the National League. There's a rule where you can hit a home run, and if it hits the wall, it has to actually be a home run. There's no rule like that in National League versus American League. I'm making a baseball reference here for you, Jay. But listen, okay, this is my biggest example that I will use. In this particular instance, the and is missing, right? So Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, that would be an acceptable answer? No. Butch Cassidy is not the Sundance Kid. Raya is not the Last Dragon. You're talking about something completely different here. You're now saying that the title of the movie, means something completely different, right?
Now, Dagan, if I can, I kind of agree in a sense. Like at this point, benefit of the rule, Jay-Way's starting to win me over, right? Because I understand what he's saying, but what happened in the Star Wars title match, I think should replace it. When Harper, I forgot
I'm fine, or I'm okay. Or
yes, and he said
master.
He said master, right? And then the mount that didn't say master. Instead of going, yeah, okay, good, they paused, convened, and then made a decision. So instead of having benefit of the role, just if you're not sure if the answer is right or not, because it's not exactly written as the answer should be in their notes, you reconvene and then you make a decision, and not make a decision and people have to challenge after. So what do you guys think about what happened in the Star Wars match and the way they dealt with it versus the rest of the season, how they dealt with it?
Well, first of all, I think that was a great way to handle it, because obviously you're being that meticulous about it, but you can't do that with every single match, because it could run up the time. It could waste the time of everybody, especially at live events. That would be, people will be just sitting there and be bored to death.
But what's better though, having that or
let me make a suggestion. I think what should be amended is what does apply is they could be what applies to the benefit of doubt rule. What should not apply is to when you're looking for an exact quote, when you're looking for the name of a specific ship or whatever thing you're looking for, and movie titles. I think those three things that disqualify from benefit of doubt rule. That way it doesn't compute, and it makes it everything a little bit more consistent.
All right, and what about you, Shug?
Well, I'm looking at some of the comments with Tim Sin saying maybe if they made it too suspicious, I can't say that word, whatever. They made it too,
specific.
Thank you, Dick. I could never pronounce that word for 38 years. I don't know why. Competitors would leave. Well, this is supposed to be the top-notch movie trivia league. Like, if they can't look it again, round one, you're supposed to know the title and write it down. That is the point of round one. 2 and 3, you say it. So 2 and 3, I can see benefit of the doubt. If maybe I would even give it that. But round one, you have to write it down. You have to know what the title is. I'm sorry. And if you can't write it down, then you don't get the point. Round 2 and 3, okay. You say it out loud. I say Raya the Last Dragon. Maybe someone's like, oh, it just, I meant Raya and the Last Dragon. I just said it too fast. Okay. Cool, benefit of the doubt. But the point of, and I see you shaking your head. I understand, but what I'm saying, when you're writing it down, that's the point of the exercise. When you're saying it out loud, we rush things. I mix my words sometimes because of how I speak. Yeah. Maybe Dagan does that too. Maybe you don't. Maybe Frenchie does. So that I understand. But when it comes to this rule, I just think it needs to be absolutely abolished, and don't make a rule because you want to make it easier. Like, that's not the point. It's not supposed to be easy. I don't know I thought I knew movies when I started watching Schmoedown. I don't know shit. I don't know anything about movies now. I learned that.
I thought I knew Star Wars before this down.
Yeah.
But Dagan, go ahead.
No, I'm with you on that, Chuck. I mean, I think it boils down to you either have the answer written down correctly or you don't, right? Certain things like spelling, maybe like, okay, who directed The Sixth Sense? M. Night Shyamalan. That's really difficult to spell, right? Okay, if you spell it wrong, but it's still M. Night Shyamalan, right? I get that. But when it comes to a title of a movie, I get the thing, thing versus the thing sort of thing. But yeah, I think that it needs to really be cleared up that you have to have the answer. I mean, that's what this league is. It's getting the answer correctly, right? Gets you points and gets you the win. So this idea that, if they change it and singles and teams now, you have to be that specific, as it should be across the entire league, doesn't matter if it's IG, Star Wars, singles, teams, then the idea that people are going to leave because it's too difficult or whatever. All right, see ya. I'm sorry, but you're not good enough to hang if that's the case. all right, bye bye. I don't want to ruffle some feathers here, but like, I am more in that camp of, you know the answer, you have it written down. If you miss a word and it totally changes the context and the meaning of the answer, then it's wrong. That's just the way it is. So.
All right. So before we continue, I know Jay Way wanted to actually say something positive about it. Good Lord, that happened.
What?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. There's one time when I can think of that the benefit of doubt rule came into play, and other moments when this happens, these are acceptable times. And it was the Star Wars match. Forgive me, I don't remember specifically, between Ace and Harper concerning the shields being up or down on the Death Star.
Oh no, I think that was
Alex Damon. No, that was Alex Damon. That was Alex Damon, Andrew DeMolanta. That was the challenge. That remember he thought he lost, and then he challenged it, and then it kept going. But continue, Jay.
So that in that circumstance, I can understand, and this is not a knock against the writing team at all. They've been doing a magnificent job. I mean, dude, they do such a good job. I quit playing along last year, and that's for real. Like they're just blowing my mind. But sometimes it happens that question wasn't worded very well. And so they examined it, and they determined that yes, both answers were acceptable in that circumstance. I just wanted to point out that came to me. That is one time where I think the benefit of doubt rule came into play, and it was very well handled, and it actually worked. But that's all I had to say.
So the one thing I want to say is, let's say I know I've heard both you, Diggin, and Shug's argument. Would you rather have the benefit of the doubt rule be abolished from round one and sudden death? Would that be acceptable?
That would be fine. That would actually make a lot of sense because you're not using the board. So again, this goes into people's speak, how they speak. They maybe just or their internet cuts out, so it clicks for a second, and things like that. Also, too, we got to remember this. It's because we're in the digital age. The digital age, we don't have this issue. When there's taping these matches, there's not really this issue about benefit of the doubt because if there's a challenge, they talk about it and then they work around it. So I think that is one of the issues too with this. But sorry, Dagan. Dagan, go ahead.
Well, before Dagan, let's get Teresa on maybe her final thoughts. What you miss is basically maybe modifying the benefit of the doubt rule to either maybe having some specific moments but not touching titles and stuff. Or having, like we just said, specific rounds that don't have whiteboards because someone like me be screwed. I'm French, right? And I don't necessarily, or you wouldn't necessarily pronounce the same way or have the same dialect for certain things, right? Because we're translating the titles. Now, what do you think? Should we modify it, or should we take it to get rid of it, or should we just keep it as is?
Yeah, I think modified is the best version. I think it's there for a reason. I just think it is overused now in situations that it shouldn't be used. It's not for like changing titles and stuff. I'm one of the people who didn't like the Elba challenge. I thought it was wrong. I thought it was the wrong answer. So, but after that, I kind of gave up on it. Like I'm now like just whatever. Yeah. I don't care because it's very inconsistent. It depends on who's on the desk, and it's not a knock against Mark Ellis, but it depends on who's on the desk. They need to. That's my biggest issue. Like just keep it one way. Just keep it one way. This is wrong. This is correct. I don't care what. But just keep it one way. Just be consistent. That's my problem.
Before we do the rounds, actually, the people who are watching, simply don't have to write a whole paragraph. Simply put in keep, change, or stay the same. I want to see what you guys think. So let's go ahead, run ahead. I know Shug wanted to say something about this as well.
Yeah. I just want to say something real quick. And to Ashley's point, I'm talking about the challenge, not the actual incorrect answer because of the digital. I'm talking about the challenge. But anyway, what I do say, is none of us can be mad at Roxy. She just was trying to win her competitor a point, and make it, you know, look at, if you're wrong, you're wrong, you know it. But if it's the manager's job to try, like who was it? The Kevin Smith challenge. Everybody knew that was wrong.
Yeah.
But Coy went with it. Why? Because he believes in his player. It was wrong, but you know what? I'm never going to sit here and crap on a manager for nope. This is how I'm going to defend my player. She used the right words. She's right. There is no other Raya movie that we know of. Everybody, you know, Justin had pointed that earlier, so she's correct. But the problem is it changes the meaning of the movie. So that to me is why, you know, we didn't like it. But you know, don't crap on Roxy for doing what she had to do. She's trying to win she's trying to help her competitor win. That's all I'm saying.
And pretty divided right now in the chat. So interesting. This is the thing. You do some things, people won't be happy. You do something else, people won't be happy. So you're damn if you do, or you're damn if you don't, right? So I wouldn't want to be Christian in this instance. Yeah. It's an impossible situation to fix. Because again, this is what intellectual sports is. You're using your brain, but it's very fine line, especially Christians inventing the sport. I know Jay Wade is like, this is not really a sport. I see it's a sport. No matter what, it's a sport, and it's an impossible task trying to set the milestone, the road for this sport. There's gonna be bumps along the roads, and hell has there been bumps. But again, he's screwed if he does, or he's screwed if he doesn't, right? So, Double D, final thoughts before we end this segment.
So, what I will say, there was one other time, and it was a fatal five-way where it was someone from Australia. It was a Harry Potter question, and he wrote down torch instead of whatever it was called. And that's the problem with international audiences and international competitors, where you have one word that's for American version, but then you have another word for an international person, and it can confuse people. So that's one of the reasons why benefit, kind of going with what Jay Way said with the benefit of the doubt rule, why it's needed. But again, I think it should be modified to kind of get some kind of the argument a little bit out of the way.
They get final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I want to piggyback on something Teresa just said. Consistency. I think that we just need to establish consistency, and we need to sort of make sure that sort of what ASG is pointing out here in the chat, that the judges need to be made aware of what the rule book is going in, and they need to follow that. There's no like wishy-washy. I don't like this wishy-washy, like, well, the rule says this, but we'll make the decision another way. No, follow the rule book. Clarify in the rule book what exactly the rule is. Be very specific with your wording, and I think that the gameplay will flow a little bit smoother, and we won't run into some of these kinds of problems.
And my final thoughts is they probably will. The thing is, they're figuring it out as they go right now.
Right.
So like this was a test run. This was version 1 of the benefit of the doubt rule. Version 2, I think, will, like Double D says, go into more specifics of how it's applied, when it's applied, for what circumstances applied. But to be able to get to that conclusion, you have to have failures and successes. You have to have moments you like fail flat in your face, and then, oh, you know what? We should learn from this and do something around this, right? If you don't, you can't evolve. You can't evolve the benefit of the doubt. So this is the growing pains they have to go through to be able to perfect and do the ultimate mental sport, right? Anyways, that's just my opinion, but it's not the final version. It's not going away personally, but it's not the final version, and they have to learn, and I think they are.